Well, welcome to this week's Queens. I'm one of your panelists, Michelle Brown, and I'm in the hot seat tonight asking the questions and sharing love, wisdom, and inspiration with my fellow queens, Lee Hill and Kenesha Lacole. And who knows who else might pop in? We'll just wait and see. But we like to get things going, and this show, it's us sharing our opinions, our thoughts of things and experiences as queens as we walk through life. So we're gonna get right into it. Tonight we're gonna talk about, who holds the keys to our community. We know we are mothers, naturers, nurturers, parents. We lead it. Who opens the doors and who keeps them closed? This conversation, we're going to unpack how we moved from gatekeeping to guardianship and build spaces rooted in equity, love, and liberation. And when I was thinking about these questions, one of the things that kept going through my mind was about the beloved community and how often in spaces where you see beloved community, those who are at the head are women, are queens. And now, more than ever, I mean, it is members of the LGBTQ community who are were put in that place. So we're going to kick it off with my first question, and it is, they say home is where the heart is. How do you define home? Is it limited to a specific location or are there other factors? And how do you keep it a safe, inclusive, and diverse space? And I'm going to start with Kanisha.
Oh God. Oh my gosh. I knew it. I knew it. Lee, how I know she was gonna get me first. Um, so the question was they say home is where the heart is, and how do you define home? So that first part for me is I truly feel like home is where your heart is. Your heart is home. And how do I define home? I feel home is a place of comfort, a place of peace, a place of truth, and a place of accountability. That's your place and your safe space. That's how I feel like a home should be, a safe space for you with all that included. And is it limited to a specific location? No, because if home is where my heart is, home is where I'm at. Um, if I'm in the community and I'm out and about, I'm home because I'm home within myself. I believe in myself. I'm going to hold myself accountable. I'm going to love myself wholeheartedly. And I'm just going to spread love within the community with the home that I have within me. And let's see, what other questions did Miss Michelle give us? Because she is on it today, y'all. What else?
How
It
do you
was
keep it safe
how
and
do I keep
inclusive?
it? How do I keep it safe and inclusive? How do I keep it safe? I'm gonna honestly say that's something that I am nowhere near perfect. How do I keep it safe? I keep it safe by making sure that I'm safe, if that makes sense. If I'm safe, that's how I feel that I'm making sure my home is safe. If I feel comfortable, if I feel safe within myself, if I feel free and I feel happy and I feel loved, home is where I'm at. So that's where my safety is because that's my safe space. My heart is my safe space, if that makes any sense.
Mhm. Well, I see that we've been joined by Queen Ariel. Hello, babe.
Yeah.
Welcome. Welcome. I'm going to give you a minute because I'm going to let Lee answer our question.
I feel out of place not being able to eat as well. So this is like,
What am I? I'm sorry. So wait, we having dinner together?
Yes,
yeah,
girl.
yeah, I will eventually have dinner. So I have to say that Miss Michelle sent the questions, and I don't know if I was in my feelings today or what, but so the questions were really difficult for me. So home to me is like a feeling, a person. Um, it's a safe place for me. That's what home is, and those safe places look like places where I don't have to shrink or be different or explain myself or have to translate myself, which I have to do that a lot to people. But as a queer, masculine-looking woman, I find home in chosen family and community and connections that I make with, like, real connections I make with people. It's sitting with people who let me breathe and not have to worry about catching myself. And that if I say fuck it, that it's okay. And they're not going to go, oh my gosh, I can't believe you said that. It's to keep it safe for me is to be inclusive. I remind myself that home is not about sameness. It's about, like, making everyone feel belonged that is in my home or in my presence. It means being intentional with my thoughts and my actions about other people's not sameness. Inviting people in that I would maybe be shy with or something, to ensure that, that there is this accountability to myself as well. Listening to the people that I include in my home and protecting the people that I let in my home. So, as a child, home was not a safe place for me. It was definitely a place of abuse and not comfort at all. I found myself sleeping under my bed at times, in closets, in trees, wrapped around with a belt. That I include in my Oh wow, we have reverb. But it was something that as an adult I could change and that I could include people in and stuff so that they knew that they would have a safe place and that they would be accepted the same way I do. Just like in the past 2 weeks, someone said something to me that kind of just hurt me. It was like, if they're not my blood, they're not my family.
Mm.
And it was horrible for me to hear it, because as a parent to children who are not blood related to me, and as a foster child that doesn't belong to anyone, do I not mean anything then? Does my life have no value because I'm not blood related to my family? Is my family less valued? And then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. And fuck them. Because I reject that theory completely, because it's like family is who shows up for you, and people and safety and understanding. It's not convenient. It's the inconvenience of me and the people that stay around me, even though I'm inconvenient, that makes me, safe and feel like home. So home isn't where you come from. It's where you're free to stay.
Thank you.
You're
Miss
welcome.
Ariel, are you ready, or do you need a minute?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay.
I want to say I love the questions this week. It actually had me doing a little bit of research and looking some stuff up. I'm gonna throw that out there. But this one is real. Like, so my parents, when I was growing up, had a very tumultuous relationship, and so we moved around so many times, like every single time, like, like you would go from like elementary to middle school to high school, like high school and on. We literally moved every single one of those times, like, so um and like sometimes even in the middle, like, so we would we would go stay with my grandparents or go stay with my aunt, like, and actually for a period of about 18 months when I was in high school, we were homeless, me and my mother, just kind of couch surfing. So home to me, it is a place, like, it's got to be someplace that's stable, um
Mhm.
someplace that, like, I can put down roots, a place where my stuff can be safe. But it is also, I think, because of that experience, it is also the people that create that safety and stability and those roots, like, um so I think, I used to think of home as like bricks. I definitely think of home as the people who make those bricks worth returning to now. And yeah, and for sure I agree, like a place like where you can exhale, right? Like a place that you can relax. I always have just managed to create inclusive and open spaces just by being that way myself, by holding the line on, we're going to have brave spaces, not necessarily safe ones, that you might not always like what you hear, but you're going to give somebody space to say it. And that we're always going to be approaching people's individualisms and differences and all of the things with the spirit of curiosity and learning, as opposed to defensiveness and antagonism. So that would be it. Like, so like, I just think, you know, and sometimes, I mean, and like I said, I'm not a perfect human. I fall down. I lose my temper. I say mean things. But then I do my very best to come back and take accountability. That is one of those, you know, generational curses that I'm perfectly happy to, you know, work on and erase for my family. Because I have absolutely apologized to my children. I have gone back and said, yep, that was wrong. That was me. My bad. And let's talk about like how we can avoid this going forward, because you don't know, I'm a whole human person and this was triggering to because reasons. You know, so that's really kind of it. It's really like, so good communication, people who you know are gonna stay good, bad, and ugly, and be stable for you is really, like, I guess all I would say. That those are the people that are my home. Like, I could live in a car if I know that I could like go, you know, have my people to call and support me, to help lift me up and like emotionally, because they might not even have a couch to share with me, but that really is home for me.
Well, you know, 'cause I had to tell you the thing. How did I come with this? I'm going to move. So I had dinner with my first friend, and we've been friends for 50 years. You know, from little bits. And we were talking, and she said, you know, we were talking about our lives, and she said, you know, I always my happiest memories was from being at your house when I was a kid. And I said, well, why? And she said, well, because I felt welcome and I felt safe. And that made me start to think about home. And I'm with Kanisha. Home is where my heart is. But I can remember how that part of being open and welcoming, when I feel welcome, when I feel like minded, when I feel safe. You know, I can be anywhere in the country, and I'm having conversations and talking to people, and we're on the same thing. I can say something like Lee said, and I can go fuck it, and they go like, oh, that's just Michelle. That's home. So home is wherever I am, it's wherever my heart is. But I also work really hard because I know about being included. Having been excluded, it's important to like, I try to have all different kinds of people in my background. And especially if I see someone and I immediately have doubts about them, just because what I've seen on the media, I'm going to find out about them. And next thing you know, they're part of my home. And it's always that part like, people who I consider part of my home, wherever I am, they have my back and I have theirs. No matter, you know, and they're just like inclusive. But like, I agree, you know, it's like home is where your heart is, where you can say fuck it, where you can just go in and be real. So that moves us back on to the next one. And I'm going to start with Ariel because you kind of started with it. In your personal evolution, have you ever had a moment where you realized you were a part of the problem? And how did you adjust to be an agent of change? And what was the hardest part?
So absolutely. I mean, I don't know anybody who has never, no, because anybody who has never felt like they were not contributing to the problem in some way hasn't been honest with themselves. And it, because we don't know where our implicit biases are until like they're like landmines, right? Like they're buried and they may or may not have any evidence, like, you know, at the surface, and so you don't know until you trip over them. I absolutely have. So I absolutely have realized that was the problem. And it is, and unfortunately, one of those things, like you usually realize it when you're on the other side of it, right? So it was, I was fighting for my son, my youngest son, to be like, to get like the diagnoses for like his IEP and all of those things, and didn't understand how much ableist thinking I had. Like that was just kind of part of who Like you just don't even think about it. Because even though I had struggled like with all of the same things my son struggled with, I was able to kind of manage through it, usually with a, the backhand of the black hand, but encouragement from my mother to stop fidgeting and to sit still and get good grades. Um, but like I didn't understand like how I had this whole thing in my brain, and that I had even applied to myself. Like I want to own that. Like I was being too hard on me too, thinking, well, why can't you just? And I guess I'll just leave it there. Like it doesn't like finish finish it how you want. Um, so being honest with myself was really hard to understanding, like, and saying, yes, I am creating these kind of loops of why can't you just? So to set that apart, to then forgive myself was really, really hard, because it wasn't my fault that these things that they had become part of my like intrinsic thinking. That just is kind of like how you exist in the world. And if nobody shows you different, you're not different. um so that, like, to deconstruct all of that, like where it was coming from, and really that made me look at so much of myself to see where else are these landmines, where else might they be lurking, so that I don't want to fall into them again, where I might be harming my children or myself or like my family, with this kind of thinking that asks without grace from people. So um I feel like that's how adjusting to be an agent of shame. I cannot tell you how I like that became my new hyper focus, is understanding parents' rights in schools, and especially public schools, to be able to advocate for my child, and how different diagnoses meant like different responsibilities on the part of like academia to do right by, and also owning that there was nothing wrong with him, that this is really, it's a superpower for how his brain works, and changing my thinking around that made me like really support him, like even in ways that I don't know that he's only 16 has fully able to grasp, where I just was like, you are not going to shave the square edges off of my square peg son to fit him into this round hole. That's not what we're doing. So that's how I started to become an agent of change. I educated myself. I'm always able to be brave for the people who need me, even when I can't do that for myself. And then, as you start walking the walk, you start doing that for yourself too. Like, hey, I deserve grace too. I deserve to have healthy boundaries. I also struggle with sensory like overstimulations and cystic burnout and all of these things. I need to give myself grace too. And the same things that we're saying that they need to do for him, you need to do for you, because so that would be it. I mean, I think that I think just really recognizing where I was the problem, deconstructing like how I had not been kind to myself was the hardest part.
Mm-hmm. Well, Kanisha, let's hear from you.
Okay, so how have let's see. I was sitting here thinking, because I told y'all I don't look at the questions until the day of. So within my personal evolution, have you ever had a moment where you realized that was part of the problem? I hate speaking on it, because I always say I will never, because I don't want to make that a part of my life. But I would say in past relationships, I realized how I was part of the problem, because I allowed things, if that makes sense. Me allowing things that I knew I would never let any one of you get away with made it part of my problem with my evolution. So when I realized that I was a part of the problem and I had to start setting boundaries for my own home within my heart, I realized I needed to change certain things, and it helped me realize the person that I was deep down inside. It helped me dig deep into the corners, as they say, in my spirituality, I did a lot of shadow work. So digging into my shadow work, into those deep, dark corners, realizing why I allowed those things helped me realize that's why I was part of the problem. So because I allowed those things, because I was looking for certain things elsewhere, I allowed boundaries that I would never let you, either of one of you, cross. I allowed those things to get to me, and I allowed those boundaries to be crossed, if that makes any sense. So allowing those boundaries to be crossed, I realized within my evolution that those boundaries don't have to be crossed by anyone, regardless of who it is. Those boundaries do not have to be crossed at all in any way, shape, or form. So with that evolution, I realized not know within my evolution stage, and even right now, as I still grow every day and daily, that there are certain boundaries that I just won't let people cross within my life, and how I teach my children. And when I mentor, if you have a boundary, stick to it. If that's what you love, and that's who you are, and that's what you feel in your heart, and that's your home, don't let those boundaries be crossed, because you're stopping your evolution within yourself when you allow people to step over the boundaries and reinsert themselves in places that you're uncomfortable. And that just shouldn't be fair. And within my evolution stage and everything that I have been through and everything that I have gone through within my life, especially the time frame that I was in my relationship, which was 21 years, that was a very long time. I allowed a lot of things that hindered me in a sense, because I allowed boundaries to be crossed that made me uncomfortable. So I allowed those things to keep going. And I'm a firm believer, and I hate a bully. So when you allow someone to keep doing something, what happens? They're going to keep doing it, and they're going to keep doing it, and they're going to keep doing it. And as Ariel said before, that teapot, it's going to get a little burnt on the bottom. You know what I mean? We getting that little soot, and you're allowing those things to keep happening. And if I'm going to allow my teapot to keep burning, what's going to happen? My tea ain't gonna be no good. So I can't even evolve properly and be able to have the best tea that I can have for myself to grow, as the kids say, clocking my own tea. So clocking my own tea with that burnt tea kettle, it ain't gonna taste right. So within myself, I've learned that there were relationships that I have had that I allowed people to overstep boundaries that I was not comfortable with. And learning to tell myself that it is okay to keep those boundaries, set them, and stay and stick with them has helped me so much within my evolution stage right now.
All right. Queen Lee, break it down, girl.
I mean, of course, we, yeah, I feel like I've been a lot of parts to a lot of people's problems, and I think that I've grown through a lot of things. I see you doing the thing, but okay, so I'll just narrow it down to one. I started a nonprofit 2 years ago, and twice in like 1 week, I had two people say, "I didn't know if you were real."
Mm,
And it hurt my feelings because I was like, well, okay, I don't understand what that means. And in my heart, I knew that I was, walking a walk and talking a talk, but obviously I had not clearly stated my intentions, right? How I was going to communicate, how I was doing it, or if I was just talking. And I felt like, I guess I was just talking. So that moment forced me to realize that talking about change wasn't always inviting people to the change. And like I felt like I knew the answers, but that I was learning how to communicate those answers, and that it wasn't effective. So I had to figure out how to make it effective. And I shifted how I approached people, and then started proving what I was doing. And that was making those connections, searching for truth in other people, and having those people see my truth. And then being honest about not having the answers to everything, and then relying on other people and being like, hey, I don't know. But if you could guide me, then that's going to help. It has opened bunches of doors for collaborations and working with other nonprofits and with other people, and then learning the community that I'm trying to serve also helped. And it was pivotal for me. It made me feel like I was now being authentic to who I was, as well as to who I wanted to help. And I was more transparent. And I think that built credibility in both my nonprofit and myself. So sometimes walking the walk means slowing down enough so that everybody can keep up. And that's so that you can then walk with them versus, behind or in front of.
Wow, I love all three of what you guys said because it's about, finding that communicating really, and not going along to get along, but how do you communicate who you are and what you believe and what you're not going for. I think that's just amazing. You are inspirational to me. So let's move along. Woo-hoo. So when acting locally, do you think or consider global implications on the environment, social justice, leveling the playing field for women, children, and others around the world? And can you give an example of one thing you do or advocate for? It can be big or small, like recycling, planting trees, whatever, that you've incorporated in your life. And Lee, I'm going to ask you first.
Yeah, I think that absolutely everything has a ripple, right? Negative ripples, positive ripples. I try to put as much positive out there. I want when the ripple comes back, or even if it's a wave, that it's a wave of possibilities and a wave of positivity, right? So I think for me, it's like if I'm mentoring a young queer person, or if I'm setting and being a mom that's listening to a kid that's coming out and, hey, this is how I want to say it to my mom, or, how do you think that they're going to take it if I say it this way? And, because it's really difficult to go through. Running the dignity closet, or, hosting a an empowerment program or a muse thing. These are all ripples. I think that um, if I can help someone or guide someone to an answer that they were looking for, what if that, guiding them, they, find the cure for cancer? I mean, there's like, and that's like a broad thing, but like, what if I sent you down the street to a small business, you purchased something from the small business that then fed their children for the day. That child now goes to school with a full belly and gets an education. That education now leads to the family not being in poverty. I think that there's a ripple, right? So I recycle, but I recycle in a different way. I'm not saying that I don't recycle my cans and bottles and stuff that's boring, but I think that I recycle hope, right?
Mm,
That the nonprofit and what I do as a person is recycling hope. And that's pouring back into my community. That's knowing that a local ripple will turn into a global ripple, even though that's not my end goal. It is a goal, right? And so that's it. That's it. Think global, act with my heart. I just think local versus global, and hope that the ripple just hits.
great. Ariel.
I'm like talking and I'm still muted.
No, we can
Um,
hear you.
no, I try to. I like to consider myself an environmentalist. And I try to do like small things like all the time, like we talk about like recycling or turning the water off when you brush your teeth, or, um, do the dishes when you can, and like those kinds of things. Um, and so I like to think that I think of the global considerations, and I also do that with my business. Um, I mean, you kind of have to be aware of problems to kind of be working on strategizing around them. So one of the things that I do is I try to recycle as much of my fabric scrap as I can. So much fabric nowadays is actually not made of recyclable or compostable material. Like there's so much plastic in our clothes that I I don't want to put that into the ground to be there, 200 years from now. So I try to recycle my scrap clothing and sell the scraps to other people who might use them, or to turn them into other things. How I got into some of my crafts was I was looking for ways to use more and more fabric, like as I was like, so what about all these little tiny thread pieces and things like that? And it's like, oh, I can turn this into that, which then can become felt or yarn or things like that. So that would be one of the things that I do, like, all the time to kind of to do my part for, for not, and for the environment, because I do think that, like, and I could absolutely get on a soapbox and talk about that for a long time, about the waste of large scale commercialism, and the impact and the weight it leans onto the environment. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I absolutely have planted trees. I have pulled invasive plants. I advocate for people to plant natives wherever you live and to find places to buy local. That's another one. People don't always understand. When you buy local, you are significantly reducing the carbon footprint of the things that you um, of getting things to you. So buying in season food, yeah. Like I said, I like to think of myself as somebody who really cares about the environment and tries to act on all of the issues that are within my capacity to do so that I am aware of. So,
Okay. Well, Miss Kenesha.
So, me, of course, I'm going to go back to love. So, one of the things that I can say I do right now is me as of right now, I am a candidate, officially a politician running for Wycomico County Board of Education District 7. And I feel like what I'm doing locally within my community is a big impact, can be a big impact for our youth, our community, our students, teachers, staff, parents as a whole. Being able to spread that love and being a voice and be able to let people know that they can be heard. And when you teach those things to people and give those people the opportunity to have a voice, to feel safe within themselves, to have that safe space or someone they can trust, I feel like that floats within the community. So when I win, I feel like that would definitely be, even if, when I win, I'm not going to say that, so I'm going to stick with that. When I win, I feel like even now, as I spread love within our community, I am letting our youth community and always know that it is okay to spread love, because I'm a firm believer and very big on mindfulness and consciousness. So if I am getting to one kid or one person, I'm a firm believer that that's two. I'm a firm believer that 7 is 14. Because if I'm loving on you, I'm actually loving on two people, because the love that I'm giving you and that smile that I'm giving you and the attitude, and that I could be the last smile you've seen all day. I could be the last person you talk to all day. I don't know what you went through in your life. I don't know what this child has going on at home. I don't know what any parent, I don't know what any adult or anybody is going through, but why do I have to be the last person that you spoke to, or anybody in your life throughout your day that you spoke to, that has to be negative? So spreading love within the community while running for this Board of Education seat locally can be definitely very global and economic for everyone to spread love. Because if I'm spreading love to one, and you can give that love to someone else, you can give that smile to someone else, you can give that hope to someone else, you can give that safe space to someone else, you can let someone know, as a heterosexual on here with you guys, letting you guys know that I can be a safe space. I love everybody. I'm not here to judge you. And when you teach other people that as well, and especially our youth, and you start young, then you teach them to love themselves as well. Because if you're comfortable within yourself, why do we care about what somebody else is doing? Why do we care who everyone else loves? So teaching love and preaching love within the community is definitely a big thing. Being able to spread it and be a voice and letting people be felt, heard, loved, and appreciated is definitely a thing for me. And that is something that I really do throughout my life, like all day long, every day, is just spread love. Last night I was on the phone till like 5 o'clock in the morning, just talking and chit chatting and life coaching with someone because they needed it. I was up anyway. So spreading love is what I do. And if I can make somebody's day better, that is just what I'm going to do all day, every day. It may be tiring and it may, but it's needed. And spreading love is a thing. And I always say it on here all the time. Love is a frequency, not an emotion. And if we could all ride that frequency of love, we can just spread that throughout our communities, homes, hearts, and just give each other that safe space.
Well, this one is sort of special. I like Ariel. I believe in community gardening, and even Lee. I mean, and I used. We've done a lot of community gardening, and I've talked to people in different places to see how it does, how it affects people. And also, I don't know, the other day was the International Year of the Girl, and connecting with that, because there are future queens, and connecting with that, I was later able to connect with some people who were doing things at the UN and be part of a conversation with girls and people, and here, and one of the things that you heard about was food, and how building their community, food, education, things that happen with these girls in their lives to do it. And I know one time when we had a community garden, we were able to bring some people who were over here. They were traveling around, and I want to say they were initially from Laos. And we were in a neighborhood where they had a problem with water, and she showed how a form of irrigation, so that here in Detroit, in a garden, we were watering like they did at home. And this all came from the minds of girls. So I think that anything that deals with girls and how we're managing it and how we're doing it really matters to me. And then doing it in the community at a grassroots level, gardening, I do composting, all those kind of things. It's like really important. I think it makes a change long term. Now, the next one to me is kind of a fun one. If you could host a special edition of Queens and invite three women, who would you invite that you believe would bring important lessons or messages to other queens, and why? They can be living or deceased, public figures, historical figures, friends, family. And when I was telling this to a friend of mine, she said, "What about a superhero? What if you wanted to bring Storm?" I said, "Well, that would work too." So, so Lee, who would you have at your on your special edition of Queens?
So I had a lot of fun with this one. So for me, I would invite Audre Lorde, Marsha P. Johnson, and Andrea Gibson. So I would invite Audrey because I think she taught self care is a form of political resistance, and that tending to yourself in a world that tries to erase you is radical. I would talk with Marsha about embodying courage and the joy in the face of danger. And she showed all of us that activism can still hold glitter, love, and laughter. I would have Andrea because she gives us the language to the in between. Her poetry holds space for queerness, grief, love, and resilience in a way that makes you feel seen. So I imagine everyone sitting at a table together, enjoying our meals, and truth being dropped, and Marsha laughing out loud and throwing glitter at all of us, and Andrea quietly spinning words that makes everybody feel like it's a sacred place. So I'd fill my table with truth tellers, the kind of women who use love as their loudest form of protest.
Mhm. Okay, Kenesha, who's at your table?
Okay, who's at my table? First and foremost, one person I would love at my table would be Harriet Tubman. Um, the resilience and the persistency, the drive, the energy, the never ending, I got to get this done, that drive in her. Would love to have her at a table just to talk to her and pick her brain about life and how to push forward, and just the love she had for what she did. um I would also love to have my cousin, who was my absolute best friend, who has she is deceased and she is no longer with us, and she was 12 years old when when she passed, 11, I believe. My apologies, when she passed. Forgive me if I'm emotional. She was my best friend. She was just a pillar of truth, as Lee said. There was no cut cards. It was just, it was what it was. You got what you got, and it is what it is. You either liked her or you didn't. In it, that point blank period with her. And my third one, I'm gonna have to say something that I recently just realized is my Aunt Gertrude. I did not realize how much of a pillar she was in my community. She did so much in our community for women as a whole. She was known for doing hair. She was on many boards and got many awards for different things that she did in our community and contributing to our community. I would love to have her voice of unity and her voice of resilience and her voice of power. Those would be the three people that I would love at my Queen's table.
Wow, I like that. Okay, come on, Queen. Who you got?
So
What you eating?
I made myself a chicken salad, so that's why I'm all crunching over here. Okay, so I loved this question. I agree with you. I thought it was really fun. But I don't know why. What popped to me as soon as you said it was the line from a Maya Angelou poem, the I am the hope and the dream of the slave. So I started with who I would want, like who do I really want to like be able to show where we're at now. And so I thought of Ida B. Wells. And yeah, I went way back. She's one of the founders of the NAACP. Anybody who watches Gilded Age, the Black woman author on there is kind of very loosely based on her. She was a journalist, a sociologist, an activist who documented lynchings in the 1890s. Like, let's just be so for real about how hard that was and how brave it was to be a Black woman activist in the 1890s talking about how white people were actively harmful to us as a community. And then I was like, okay, so who next, right? And so then I was like, so Shirley Chisholm. She was the first Black woman in Congress. And also she died before Barack Obama was elected. So I wanted to bring her to show Ida B. Wells, Shirley Chisholm, and then I wanted to show them both Kamala Harris. So that's the table that I would make to show, I hope to like show how we've always been strong, how we've always been resilient and amazing and creative, but that look at what we can accomplish, look at how far we've come, and just imagine if we were going to keep seating this table into the future, where we will be. So.
I love that. And okay, now I'm gonna tell you mine. And it's interesting that lots of us, two of us went way from it. I would start with Madam C.J. Walker. She was a businesswoman. I mean, she was an inventor. She was an activist. I mean, and to be Black and did what she did back in the day, this is what we want to be. She was her own woman. So I love Madam C.J. Walker. Next would be Monica Roberts. Monica Roberts was a trans activist. She died in 2020. But Monica Roberts and was my friend. And Monica stood up for everybody. In Texas, she would go in and advocate for everybody: women, poor, Latino, Black, LGBTQ, homeless people, and trans people. And she started the Trans Griot. And so many of my trans friends now all say if it wasn't for Monica Roberts, they might not be alive today. I love her still. And the third one would be Michelle Obama. Not just because she's Michelle Obama and those guns, those great, but for Michelle Obama, that little girl from the south side of Chicago who grew up not having much, who grew up with a father who had a disability and having to grow and do that, to grow up as a Black woman who was challenged for her intelligence everywhere that she went, as a Black woman who struggled with fertility, as a Black woman who at one point put her goals and her dreams on the side to support her husband, but in part made a conscious decision as for what's the better, and then to see where she has come all the way back around. And she's so outspoken, so smart. She is her own person. And her ties about family, her mother, her brother, her kids. But that part, growing up on the South Side with her father and that influence and understanding, I think that made her the woman that she is, that she's understands a lot on so many levels that many of us go through, that I think many people don't even bother, they just go, oh, Michelle Obama, she was, first lady. No, she was that little girl from the South Side of Chicago. So those are mine. So, I mean, and just think if we all put our tables together, I mean, we'd probably be talking for a month,
Absolutely.
We'll be talking for yes.
That would be a good table, though.
Mm-hmm.
I really went back and forth between Michelle Obama and Kamala Harris, and I was like, it's so hard because I love, and I think I agree with you. Like she's a goat, but
Both of
also
them.
really understood the part that her and her family were playing in history and how
Mm-hmm.
heavy it was. You know what I mean?
Oh. Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, so I think about I mean, and then, and actually, I did go back and forth between the two, but I think that the part her childhood
mhm,
and like where Michelle and them, I mean, they didn't live in Hyde Park. They were on the south side, okay? And having to share rooms and having a small place and knowing family and the part about her father who showed them, even though he had a disability, they didn't really think of it like it was just dad. And
mhm.
and I think that that's so powerful. I mean, that
Absolutely.
often, we don't recognize that someone in your family who has a disability, how it impacts the whole family and makes you stronger. So I mean, that was just like, but I mean, any of these tables, I would love to be a fly on the wall.
Mhm.
Okay, so next, there are many examples of initiatives locally and globally, like planting seeds for a new economy. They include things like trade banks and bartering networks and microcredit and small loans to women that don't require collateral. What is working especially for women in your community? And what would you like to see more of to help women who are creatives, entrepreneurs, and innovators? And Ariel, let's start with you.
Okay. Um, so no, that's fine. I
I
was
like
actually
that. Okay.
I can math. I figured I was like, okay, so her then her. Okay, so then me. But
Mhm,
um, so I feel like for the women in Pottstown, what has been really working is it's not so much any kind of outside influence or like programs. It's really been how they kind of have started to kind of circle the wagons. It's been trying to shop from within, support from within first. I know that as a community and where we're at in like Pottstown is kind of like super closed off and small, but trying to bring in CDFIs, that's community development financial institutions. Like, so basically that's money that's set aside specifically to service the community, and they have whatever their specific, you know, brand is that their financial institution is trying to say, like, oh, we want to support more small women owned business or more BIPOC owned business or whatever it is that they are saying that they care about, or more, child cares, whatever it is. And to connect with them, but in a way that keeps it competitive for the small business owners, as opposed to like letting somebody come in and like kind of set terms. So taking the power back, I feel like has been really helpful and useful. But I think that networking piece has been huge, in how these small businesses have been able to kind of stay afloat in these kind of tough and, like, these tough times with lots of political pushback. And um I don't know, I feel like I'm not thinking of anything. I mean, I
mhm,
like to think that my program does a lot to help, but I don't know
mhm,
that it's like, hitting on like a big large scale. But we are connecting women with each other and with resources, trusted resources that are going to protect their dignity all the time.
mhm, mhm, mhm. Okay, Lee, change maker. I think you're on mute.
I was on mute. So I think for me, it's a rise in collaboration that women are mentoring other women now, sharing resources, helping each other start small businesses, supporting each other when we want to start small businesses, and I think that's powerful in itself. But I would love to see more investment. I would like to see women-owned creative artists and like performers, and just the outside of the box things that we tend to support in like bigger areas and stuff, but you still see um, you you still see it in these small towns, but they just don't have the same support. So like innovators and STEM women and women who who want to do um, architecture and engineering and stuff. So I think that that's one of the things I'd like to see, the investment into those women-owned businesses, especially those that aren't like prominent. And then I would like to see the community of women, especially the older women, heal the community through
Mm,
storytelling. Like, yes, it was hard, but look where we are now, kind of things. I think that the younger women, especially in the African American community, they need those role models to, especially local ones that they can grasp and get a hug from and see that nurturing side of us. But yeah, I think we need to see more micro grants, mentorship, and safe spaces. Those are the things that I think that we need.
Mm. Hmm. Kanisha, Miss Politician, when you're on the board, what are we gonna see, girl?
Unity, and that is actually one of my seeds of change, which is amuse, because I've heard someone say that already today. I believe it was Ariel, amuse. My seeds of change are amuse, mental health, unity, safety, and education. And I believe within our community, I do love seeing more of the unity, like what we're doing right now as queens. We need more of that. There is a lot of, and I'm piggybacking off of Lee because she said pretty much what I was what I want to say is unity. As queens in our community, we need to uplift each other more and stop segregating ourselves, acting like we can't help each other, um, give each other the resources we need to help each other succeed. Um, when it comes to the unity aspect, sometimes there's that mean girl. There's a mean girl groups that we have, and we all know that there are mean girls. They're the ones that they talk nice, they do nice things, but they low key a little bit mean for real, like, but we need to get together more and support each other more, not just because one group's doing it, we can all do it. And I personally had to realize myself that being a queen, you're going to be an influencer, right? If you're a true queen, you're going to be an influencer. So people are going to want to follow who you are. And we need to learn to be able to accept that and move forward with each other to bring unity within our community, within ourselves as queens as well, so we can all thrive and give each other what, like Lee and Ariel were saying, those resources, and give each other, like, we should have no problem giving those resources, or here's the link to this, or here's the link to that. Having groups of other communities, like queens, like say right now, us as queens, we could pop up at another podcast. It's okay. You know what I mean? We can support another podcast. We just popping up. Hey, queens, how you doing? That support, that genuine
Mhm.
love, that oh, hey, oh, there's Michelle, there's Ariel, there's Lee, there's Tamia, there's Kenesha, and we all just pop up and we speak and we talk and we love on one another, and it's just a unity aspect for me that I feel like we are getting better, but we need way more of it. And it's okay if we can tell the community that it's okay to love on one another. It's okay to give each other that unity within ourselves so we can all thrive together, because if one thrives, we should all thrive, and especially as queens. I don't mind taking over. I don't know about y'all, but I don't see no problem with us taking over. We need more of us anyway. Especially like Lee said, like I said, piggybacking off of Lee, we need more of our elders to be more of our mentors. We need them in our back pockets. Hey, Miss Michelle, what'd you do? How would you take
Mhm.
this? What happened? I know it sounds different, but I'm a little, back in your day, what'd you do? What happened when this happened? Or what would you do when this happened? Just the unity aspect, trusting each other and loving on one another is just something that I feel like we need more. Unity is a big thing on both aspects for me, and I believe we can all thrive if we come together with unity.
Mm. Well, I'll tell you something that I went to um, pre-COVID and I watched during COVID. It was, and I want to say it was like in a 3 block, maybe three, not more than 3 blocks. They had come up with time banks, and everybody just talked about what they could do. And you didn't put a value on it, but like, say there was an older woman who needed this one was really something. She needed her lawn cut, and there was a mother who wanted her kids to learn to play the piano. And so she gave them an hour piano lesson and they went and cut the grass. And there were little things like that, like that they would do, like, somebody needed their clothes washed or somebody needed babysitting. And they didn't put like a value on it. She didn't go like, well, I usually charge, $50 an hour for it. It was like, no, an hour. Okay, so you're going to cut my grass. It's going to take you an hour to do the front and the back. Okay, Next week, you can come down and do it. And they had this whole network within these 3 blocks to where they looked after each other by exchanging things. And one person kept track of who could do what. And there were things that you could do. Like there was a woman who was going to move, and somebody went and helped her box up and man her yard sale. And it was, and especially I was talking to him during COVID when there were things that was like so helpful that they took care of each other. And I guess time banks are other place, but I like the fact that this wasn't really huge and it built community. And I thought it was just like beautiful, so that's what I would do. Time banks. I like that. Okay. So next. Often those in the women's movement rail against the patriarchy. But how do we call in men and boys to be a part of building a beloved community? In past episodes, some of us have talked about what we have taught our sons. How do you see your sons and the men who you impacted paying it forward to call in their friends, the next generation of men, to be a part of a beloved community? And Kanisha, come on.
um, how would I do that? My boys, what I instill in them anyway is love. It's just love. I am really big on teaching my boys to love people regardless of who they are and what they are. But first and foremost, they have to be firm and love their self within. So if they can love their self for who they are, and this is men in general, if you can love yourself for who you are, why are we worried about with the next man that you don't agree with, because that's not what you choose to do with yourself? Why are we worried about that person? Believe in who you are as a person. Like I said, the same thing I teach my boys. They could tell you, they could probably come right in here and tell you I say the same thing. Love yourself first. My son, for a prime example, he was in middle school. My oldest son, he's 20 now. He'll be 21 in January. Oh my God. But he was in middle school and he got his ears pierced and he was going to homecoming and he wanted to wear we were going through shirts or whatever for like home, not his little homecoming, a little dance they had for middle school, and he had flowers all over his shirt. And it was one of those things where he was like, and I was like, do you like this shirt? Like, he said yes. Okay, so why are we worried about other people? So being able to instill, he wore the shirt, his ears were pierced. We got him a little flower, we got him a little rose. I got a little rose studs to match his shirt. He was cute as a button, just as handsome as he could be. But when it come in, he was comfortable with himself, regardless of what somebody else said. They can think what they want about whatever you're wearing, but as long as you are comfortable within yourself, you should be able to move in society without having any issues. You should be able to love on people regardless of who they are. You should be able to have conversations. You should be able to go to work. You should be able to drive down the street. You should be able to walk and talk and do whatever you do normally in society if you just love yourself and love the person for who they are. I'm a real stickler on love, and I say it all the time. Love is a frequency, not an emotion. So if I teach my sons and if we teach men and boys and in our society to teach to love on people for who they are and just ride that love frequency, I feel like that would just solve a lot of problems. Like, it would just solve a lot. It would solve so much, because if you love who you are as a person, even if you're a man, like, well, why does anything else matter?
Hmm. Hmm. Ariel, you talked about families. What's your take on this?
I think when I talk about my sons, I think it was raising boys who I do feel like are rapidly feminist. And we also talked about, the kinds of, like, making sure that they were the kind of men I could be proud of, that I would never have to worry about being like who I knew would stand up for other people and would use the privileges that they have to hold space for people who don't have that. And so you do that lots of ways, right? Like, so we taught consent from the beginning, and maybe a little bit unorthodox, but like, we respected their space and their bodies. Like, we never had the, oh, please give uncle whoever who you've never met before a hug. Like, we just never made them do things that made them feel uncomfortable. and we respected their agency as much as we could. Like we were like really honest. We were also honest about who, like as parents, like, and and me especially, about who I am as a woman. So like as my sons got like bigger and maybe physically imposing, I had to explain, hey, I don't think you mean to be physically aggressive in the way that it's coming across to me, but I grew up in West Philly, and men who like, loom over you, you might, so here's what that says to me. Here's what it might be saying to other people. You need to be really cognizant of how other people's experiences might be, altering their perception of you. So and I think, yeah, like, so I believe genuinely that both of my sons are probably very staunch feminists. I think that they definitely think that there's nothing that, and that there's nothing that any one gender should be doing or could do that the other one can't. Um, I feel like that's really important, is that they just see that they already see women as equals, and that, and I feel like they're also sensitive. Like we never, like we always talked about feeling feelings and how feelings should affect behavior and what's acceptable behavior, like all of that kind of stuff. So that's how I think, like, and always having a call in attitude for people who aren't making egregious social errors. Like if somebody comes up to you and like, smacks your ass and, calls you some, honorifics and baby, sweetie, whatever, like he can just keep on keeping on. But like if somebody is like asking, or like on the outside of the circle trying to figure out how can I get in and show allyship and support, well, let's call you in so that you can do that. Like invite men into, not all women's spaces, but invite men to opportunities to learn. So like when we screened a movie called Show Her the Money last year, or earlier this year. It just feels like it's been crazy. Earlier this year. And we did have men in the audience often. And my favorite screening was where there was a man in the audience who just stood up and was like, I didn't know any of this information about how hard it is for women entrepreneurs to get funding, how few venture capitalists there are, like how little investment goes to them. I did not know any of that. How can I, as a man, change that narrative? And I was like, well, like, love that you asked. Bring more men to movies like this, show them, talk to them. And in spaces where women might not be welcome, like soften the landing, right? Like if you're looking around and it's just men in the room, talk about, wow, I can't believe that there's no women in this room. That's crazy. We're all powerful business owners. Don't any of us know anybody who could be in that room? I mean, I try to call in, but like sometimes you can't help some people. I mean, I literally had a man go on a whole long, very condescending rant about how there weren't women on this advisory board we were on. And I was like, this is an advisory board for for minority business owners. Your wife should be here instead of you. And he was like, what? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, walk the walk, please. So, I feel like that's it. Like, it's like, just sometimes like dudes don't even understand. It's like, where's your head at? Like, have you made space and opportunity for the women in your life to have the same opportunities? Like, y'all have the same number of kids. Y'all are both running businesses. Why are you here and she's not? If you think more women need to be here, I know you know one. So, I think just bringing it to their attention in ways that they can hear. Like, I mean, I'm all for, like I said, the sweetie babies can keep it moving. I don't really have a whole lot of rap for them, but the people who I feel like a good conversation and a little bit of understanding could make aware of where they have these blind spots and these implicit biases, it's the way we do it.
So, a disclaimer before I ask Lee, I've had the privilege of interviewing Lee for my podcast. And Lee, I know you foster young men. So, can I get your input on this? Because, you are maybe the first safe place that they've had, the most supportive place. And what an impact, you have. And so I really was looking forward and I think I listened to your interview right before I wrote this question. So Lee, please.
Okay, so yeah, I think I taught my boys that equity wasn't power, that it was redistribution of love, right? And love isn't power. You don't hold love hostage. So, and if you do, then you're trying a power game and you shouldn't do that. And I led by example with the boys. I made them um, equitable voices in my home. And that was key, I think, for them. So I figure that if we want them to see what empathy is, we have to open empathy up to them. And if we want them to be emotionally intelligent, we have to teach them emotional intelligence, right? So, um, and then we have to also, right, as feminist women, as feminine women, as women who are active and activist and, showing our power, we also need to let them know that my struggles and my fight isn't anti-man,
Mm,
right? It's pro-humanity, and
mm,
that has no gender.
mm-hmm,
So, with me being so gender fluid with my boys, I was able to go. We would get in boxing rings and box, but
mm,
they would climb in my lap and watch The Little Mermaid with me. So, I made sure that there were no gender responsibilities. So, not tearing them down because they were men meant that I was able to uplift them with awareness and emotions and love and understanding. So that's how I think you do it.
thank you, Lee.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. And I'll tell you, to toot my own horn, if you ever want to hear more about that, about Lee Hill, listen to her interview on Conversations, a collection by Michelle Brown. You'll go like, wow. I mean, I still go, wow. So we're gonna move on, and I will say, I have a son, and he's in education. In fact, he chose to be in education. He could have done some other things, but he said he really and he chose to be in education in middle school because he said some of these are older. They've already made up their mind to do that, but he thought that this was where he could make an impact and to talk to them about many of the things we've just talked about, being empathetic, being caring, the equity, all of those things. So I think that that's how, and he has, he's been teaching for 10 years, and he's seen someone who now what they're doing, they say, oh, well, Mr. Brown, it's because you said this when we were in class. And that's how you pass it on. So, all right. So when queens, when you see and think about young women, and I mean they're all ages, but we'll just say young women who are in the spotlight or in the news, like Amanda Gorman, Rihanna, Cardi B, Maya Penn, Jasmine Crockett, just to name a few, and others. What inspires you, gives you hope, and makes you concerned? And I'm going to start with Kanisha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Miss Michelle. um, when I think of people like the names just that you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
for me personally, Jasmine Crockett is one that I've looked at her and watched her. And I know some people don't like her, but she is real and raw in politics. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she gives you truth and honesty, and that's what people don't like. And that just reminds me of myself, because a lot of people say, oh, you said this, but she's very inspiring when it comes to just where she's at. A lot of Black women are not. And where she's real, raw, and uncut, it reminds me so much of myself and lets me know from everything that I hear. And it just puts me in a place of letting me know that I'm okay, and things that I teach my youth when I'm mentoring, that it is okay. We do not have to conform to society. It's 2025. It is no longer 1965. I don't have to do certain things that people did back in 1965 to thrive in 2025. It's different times now. We have social media. In 1965, there was no Queen's podcast. You know what I
Mm.
mean? There
Mm-hmm.
was we all came to a they all came to a table and spoke together. There was no way of technology for it to get out there for everyone to see. So I'm a firm believer that people like Cardi B as well and Rihanna in doing their things that they do, like I'm a firm believer in authenticity. like
Mm-hmm.
like Cardi B, I feel like love her or hate her, she's authentic. She is who she is, and she's never changed. From even when I saw her when she was first on Love and Hip Hop, she has not changed. When she was talking about her teeth and getting her boobs done, that cracked me up. Like I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And she's always been real. She's not been fake. And we've all gone through things in life. And what I love about the people that you've mentioned is they've all had their own times and struggles in their life, but they've all pushed forward.
Mm-hmm.
They've all made it. They've all, when I mean made it, they've all made their own goals. You know what I mean? They've all succeeded within themselves, even though they may have goals that they're still trying to achieve and they're still evolving with. But I just, when it comes to women and people like that and the people in society, they give me hope. Things that I am concerned about are people who are fake, like your what's that girl name? Because if y'all know her, if you said her, what's that? Candace.
Um,
Oh, I know who you mean by cat. I can't think of the. Uh-huh.
Owens.
You know I'm talking about. She's one of them people that makes me feel like, huh? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
She makes me turn my head a little sideways. You know, to each their own. We can all agree to disagree, and I'm a firm believer in that. But I'm concerned on people like that only because she's not real, in my opinion, because she gives false narratives to our youth that we're still trying to grow and we're still trying to have them learn and be those lovers and those people in society who are going to give love and let our men know that it is okay to be in those spaces to take up for us. But how do our men learn to take up for people when you have different walks of life that are just, I'm concerned with people who aren't authentic is what I should say, but loving on the
Mm-hmm.
people and love the people who are authentic that you mentioned. That's
Mm-hmm.
what I love about our women that you mentioned and our women in society.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Um, okay, Lee.
For me, I think it's their boldness that
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate the most. Like they own that. They own their
Mm-hmm.
story. They own the way they dress. They own the way that they walk, how they present themselves. I think Amanda's grace with words sets her in this strong point because it's not, she just does, it's just fluid. It's like
Mm-hmm.
music and you can't deny it. And then I think like Rihanna's refusal to shrink and conform to people and their standards is like amazing. Like if you see her when she first started and how she is now, and just all the things that she's doing. I think Maya Penn's innovation and her ability to just move progress the needle just a little further, a little further, a little further. Um, these aren't women that are waiting for permission to do these things; they're just doing it, and I think that you know they're designing the new generation and how it looks. I think my parents always said, that rap music, that heavy metal music, it's ruining, you're the worst generation, and you hear all these things like, you're going to be the ruin of everything. And then come to find out we birthed great generations, right? So um it gives me hope that this generation that's coming is defining success on their terms, not how I see success or anybody else sees success. It's how they see it. And it reminds me, though, that on the flip side, that we're just getting started with this rebellion that we're starting. Men can have feelings, women can be strong. These are all things that are very rebellious natures. But I think that their boldness is making opportunity. And for me, that means no bears. So they might not be following the blueprint, but they're probably rewriting it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Ariel. Ariel, come on now. I hear you got Cardi B going in the background.
You're hilarious. No, I mean, so I agree. Like, I think, like, I was with Lee that their boldness is what I really admire and appreciate about the younger generation. I mean, I don't know that I'm all that much older than Jasmine Crockett, at least I don't when I think
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
But that I feel like, so what I notice the most is that they're so much more unapologetic, so much more unwilling to make some of the compromises that we grew up as normal. Like, you know what I mean? Like to let that guy pat you on the shoulder, or to, you know, to be a little quiet in the boardroom because you wanted to get ahead. Like, none of that. Like, they have none of that. Like, they're just out here like, what? Who heard of being quiet to be heard, to get opportunity? That doesn't even make any sense.
Exactly.
And I love that. I think it's amazing. I feel like they are, you know, pulling us forward, like with like gusto and verve and style in a lot of ways, because they are bold. They don't, they take up space. They don't feel like they have to. They are redefining what is normal in society, and I feel like that it makes me feel more free, truthfully, to be myself, because like once upon a time, like I too was like, you know, um having to make emotional sacrifices, or at least I thought I did, to shrink myself, you know, to set myself on fire to keep other people warm, all of that. And like, I just don't feel like this new generation is about it. Like, they're like, wait, that doesn't even make any sense. And then you're like, you know what, you're right. Like, what am I, let me, you know, like, let me get it together
Mhm.
and be out here like talking the talk, and let me lead just as boldly, so that like I can go first, like I'm supposed to, so that I can, you know, take these first shots, so that you can see how they're coming, and you can, you know, avoid them and learn from what's happening with me. um I think that's, I think it's amazing what the younger generation is doing. And I especially love Jasmine Crockett, because I feel like, and my pen too, I feel like they're unapologetic about who they are, and that like
Mhm.
you don't have to do, like, they're not changing anything about themselves. They're showing up who they are in whatever spaces they've decided they belong in, like, and they're deciding that. um and they're not like, you know, I just remember, like, you know, feeling like, I'm from West Philly. I absolutely could have all the accent in the world that you would associate with that. But I worked really hard not to, because it was associated with being ghetto and thus uneducated or undereducated. And I wanted to fit in into spaces where education, where I was educated, and where I wanted to be able to move smoothly and with respect. And it was already like, I'm already got that double hit of black and woman. So
Mhm.
you know, to be able to see like Jasmine Crockett with her wigs and her nails and her AAVE, just out here like, stop, child. I love it. Like, it feeds me. And
Mhm.
because it's like, you know what, like, she wouldn't have been able to be who she is like 20 years ago, but it also shows me where we are now, right? Because she couldn't have been that way 20 years ago and still have the same kind of respect and standing and like support from the people that she does. So I love it.
Mhm. Well, I'm gonna tell you. I'll start with Jasmine Crockett. Okay, I have always believed the Congressional Black Caucus back in the day was the heart and soul of Congress. I mean, they called people out. John Lewis. I mean, they called people out. You know, they stood up for what was right. But you know, our lions got older. Some of them left, and some of them did it. When I see Jasmine Crockett, I go like, yeah, we're back. You know, we're back. Tell them, sister, I love her. I love her spunkiness, her fierceness. You know, she don't take nothing, and no, and you're not gonna talk over her. I just love her. I, as a poet, you know, I love Amanda Gorman. I love the way she talks, her use of words, her when she performs, how she's using her whole body. You feel it, you know. I mean, and Rihanna, hey, besides work, 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 hey, she
Yes.
work, but she lives her life her way. And you know, girlfriend got it. She on so many levels she's got it, but she also has her thing right about having them babies and being her mom, being that mom. I'm going like, go ahead, girl. You know, she is working it. Um, I like Cardi B. unapologetic. Cardi B is Cardi B. Like you said, from day one to today, she is Cardi B. The baby of the group is Maya Penn. And a while back, and I mean, she's only 25, but I'd say like about 3 years ago, somebody gave me a book, which I have since given it to young women. It says her book was You Got This. Unleash your awesomeness, find your path, and change the world. That's the future. 25. And she's I love her clothes, I like her style, I like her design. But I'm just like, wow, that's it. Those people give me like so much hope as to what we're going to be. Like, our voices aren't going to be silenced. We can be authentic, and we are gonna be authentic and do our things. What gives me some concern is like the media, not us, because Queens ain't on everything, is not talking about what they're doing. They are not talking about Cardi B's
Mm-mm.
authenticity. There's Dr. Tamara Hill. She's in Atlanta. She's written a book about Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion and what they've done and what they had to fight in the music industry. Many people go like, "Oh, look at Rihanna," but Rihanna stepped back. They're not talking about that backstory. I mean, you know, a lot of young people don't watch politics and aren't trying to get into politics to see what Jasmine Crockett is fighting for, and that voice and expressing themselves. I worry that that backstory, what's at the core of what they're doing, not their fame and their publicity and seeing them on TV, might get lost. And what they're doing is something that this next generation so desperately needs to see.
Yeah, it's being erased from the history books. That's why
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
why the stories
Mm-hmm.
need to continue. Those stories need to
Mm-hmm.
be said.
You know what? I might have to have all four of them at all five of them at my queen's table. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm for the new group to invite on in.
I like that group too.
I mean, because really, we have some just like amazing people, and particularly, I think those who are in the entertainment industry, they want to show them just like as entertainers. I mean, for people aren't talking about how Beyonce is building low income housing in Texas. They aren't talking about, and these are women who are nurturing and that are gatekeepers and they're taking care of community. We need to hear that part too. That, it's not just about having the fame and the concerts and being seen and maybe being on TV. It's what you do when you go home in your
Mm-hmm.
community. And I think that all of them are making that difference.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here we are at the end. Last question, and this is what really, really got me thinking, and which did it. Um, Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. defined the beloved community as a community in which everyone is cared for, absent of poverty, hunger, and hate. What are your hopes for your beloved community? And are there things beyond those defined by Dr. King? And we're going to start with Lee.
Um, I hope that the beloved community isn't just an idea, that it's an everyday practice. That's I think that it should look like knowing who your neighbors are and caring for them, and that nonprofits no longer compete with one another, they start collaborating, that schools don't just teach ABCDs, but they also teach empathy and emotional intelligence. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I want to see love and kindness and understanding for each other. Um, Dr. King dreamed of a world that was built on justice and equality and love. Um, I think that if he was here today and he was able to, I think he would. So this is going to get me all. He would add joy,
Mm-hmm.
because joy is a resistance. It's a resistance against hate and hateful behavior. And so I think I believe it. See, what did you do, Miss Michelle?
You said it.
I think the beloved community starts where love meets action.
Mm,
Mhm.
mm.
That's it. I ain't got no more. You're done with me for the night.
She's-
Oh, hey, thank you, sister. I love you. Okay, Kanisha.
um, community, I would say, going back to what I always say all the time, love. That frequency of love, because everything that Lee said, everything that we have all said today, um, to have a community filled with love would just be the most amazing thing that we could all ever imagine. No judgments of one another, um, just kids frolicking without having to be mad or rude or not wanting to share or looking at people indifferent. It gives you literally what my campaign is, what my muse is for my seeds of change. Mental health. If we could all have the, mental health capacity, be able to deal with everyone, the unity of one another, the safety aspect within one another, within ourselves, because we all have that safe space, and to give the proper education to our community, we would thrive. But we don't give that because we don't exude love. We're so built off of going on our emotions and not the frequency of love that we forget about the mental health, unity, and safety aspect of our community as a whole to thrive. And if we would all just use that muse to a whole, it would just be beautiful. And our community would just love each other for who we are and just be on one accord, and regardless of who you sleep with or what your religion is or what color you are, what you eat or how you choose to live your life, it just to love each other for who we are, for mental health, unity, and safety purposes, and just ride, and giving each other proper education and giving each other that ride, and that just it would just be beautiful. And I know a community would just thrive. I should build my own.
Miss Ariel.
So, I actually really do love this like philosophy of his, although I don't feel like Dr. King really included, I think, all of the types of discrimination in his thinking that he could have, when, and I don't know that he could envision all of the different types of ways that people have found to, exclude and other people. Um, so I just would broaden the definition. Like when we talk about like racism, I really feel like any discrimination is an evil of our society. Like racism is, I mean, I work for the YWCA. Part, like the very first line of our mission is to eliminate racism, because I do believe it is an ill of both our society and, certainly of our country. But I think the piece that's missing, and I don't know if it's, I mean, in theory it's nonviolent and in theory it's peaceful, but is the acknowledgement and accountability piece that is so important for moving forward. I think that's that's not something that Dr. King was especially, and I think it's maybe a product of like when, he was, that the steps that they were able to make were so far from where they started. Like, you just couldn't even walk in certain place, like you just couldn't even be existing as a person of color in certain spaces and understand that the laws applied to you equally and that you're safe. And I mean, I know we're not entirely there now, even in 2025, but certainly there is a more reasonable expectation that the laws are going to apply, like the laws that govern your safety are going to apply to you. That the public is not going to turn on you and then turn a blind eye to harm that happens to you. Um, Not that that saves everybody. Certainly it does not. We see that all the time. But I think that we can't actually move past any of those isms, racism, sexism, any of those things without acknowledging the harm that and the privilege, right? Like you have to be really super honest. It's that thing we talked about earlier, like realizing that you're the problem and how are we going to move past it? You have to be it's hard, but you have to be honest about how you were the problem and how you're moving past it. And I don't think that Dr. King could envision a world where we would have like an African American museum that would really highlight bullet pointed and be able to look at the exact economic impact, the generational physical trauma, like all of the things that Black people have suffered in this country, to be able to say okay, we can literally point to like there's science about this. and
Mhm.
we need you guys to we need somebody to say, okay, you're right. It was bad. And we are wrong. What can we do to mitigate the harm? So
You know, I agree with you. I think that there were some things that I don't think that were even on the radar, that I think that, he would be looking at. When you stop now sometimes, I'm starting, I have friends in Chicago, and they were showing how they were protesting against the ICE raids and getting arrested, and you're starting to see this happen. I think that, that level of civil unrest, this civil protest, I mean, we really need it more now than ever. And, it doesn't have to be, you know, just sort of stopping this madness and doing it. Besides talking about the beloved community, people often quote the one about the content of the character, and he was talking about his four little girls. But I really believe, after I've used this, I said that I would say that his dream would say that all children would live in a nation where they wouldn't be judged by the color of their skin, their sexual orientation, their gender expression, where their parents were born, their legal status, whether they were immigrants, uh, class, poverty, none of these things would be there. Racism, homophobia, I think that he would do that, and that they would all be judged by the content of their character and have the opportunity to grow and be all that they can be. Because that's the promise of America. And, I think that we need that kind of passion now to sort of say all of this shit is wrong, and how do we stand up for it's not good if some people eat and others don't. It's not good to cut out food programs. It's not good, all these things, to hate someone just because they're Latino, just because they're African, just because you don't know where their parents were, who got here first. I mean, this is appalling to me what I see in the news. And I we need a king sort of moment, you know, where we all sort of rise up. There's a book called The Fifth Sacred Thing by Starhawk, and they're in an authoritarian state, and they send in the troops. And what happens is the good people come, and they don't fight them. They just sort of stand up in front of the troops who are coming in with their guns to shoot them. And they say, there's a seat for you at my table if you choose to take it, if you choose to be there. And at first, the troops kill some people, but each time another person stands up and says to him, there's a place for you. Until pretty soon it was like, we're killing each other. And, I dream of something like that happening to turn things around. I dream a dream of a better America. And I want to thank each of you for going down this rabbit hole with me with my questions. I think that we are the gatekeepers of the beloved community. And with our hearts, our spirits, and that love that Kanisha always talks about, we can make a difference.
absolutely. Thank you so much
Right.
for these are great questions. This was a fun conversation. I feel like you know, a little bit outside of the box. Like I said, it made me really think about, some of these things and my place in it.
I
Mhm.
loved all the questions
Yeah.
too, Miss Michelle. Had me thinking. Like I said, I always look at the questions last minute, but you had me kind of like in my feelings a little bit, like Lee, like it was a little bit. I was in my I was in my feelings a little bit because this made me dig a little deeper than what I wanted to dig, especially on one of the questions. Um, because it made me think, but your questions made me think so deep. If I didn't go that far, it made me do some self-reflection. Like it made me hold
Mhm.
myself accountable for things that I know that I'm doing in society. It made me think more about and be more aware, I should say, of who I am as a person in society and finding more of that peace within so I can keep being the gate, we don't have to be gatekeepers. We can be, that unified connection of queens to help do what needs to be done.
Well, I have to tell you, I wrote these on my birthday, and I had got in bed, and it was just like, oh, and it was like I'm very reflective on my birthday about what I want. And you guys made my wish come true. Thank you so much for your participation, for your heartfelt comments, and for thinking, and I'm not going, oh God, here, do you see she wants an essay? I didn't ask you to write anything, but it's like, for going along with me on this journey. It's been fascinating. It's been, I mean, I loved the different people at the tables who you'd invite, and Lee, I don't want you to cry anymore. I love you.
Yeah.
I'm sending you lots of love. And you know what? And while we have this moment, I want to send a big shout out to the person who makes this happen, our queen, Pierce Peach
Yeah.
McCoy, who's been a little under the weather. We love you. We thank you for giving us this platform to have these conversations and for finding us and pulling us all together to be at your table.
Yes. We're going to
Absolutely.
clock that tea, Peach. We clocking that tea. We love it. And I'm grateful. And I can say to all of you, I am grateful this conversation to be in these spaces. I love having these queen conversations. As I said, to be the only heterosexual in this conversation, like in these conversations, it is just beautiful to have like I didn't even know like the stuff we talk about just teaches me so much. And I love it. And I'm grateful to be in this space with all of you too, and to feel the comfort in that safe space of home within my heart, Miss Michelle.
Oh, hey, home is where the heart
Yes,
is.
ma'am.
I'm just gonna say, Kanisha, we got cookies over here. Just saying.
Yeah, cookies. I wish I could eat
Right.
already gluten free.
So wait. We're on the dark side? Is that what I just heard?
Dark side, I said we have cookies over here.
Got it.
Gluten-free cookies
Are they
over
gluten free
here.
too?
They're gluten-free
Are they
cookies.
vegan too?
Oh, vegan, gluten-free. Girl,
Dang.
we're
Oh, hold
yeah.
up. Who made them? That was a drop off. Is that what you was eating earlier? That was a drop off.
Oh, yeah, that's the drop off.
Okay, where we? Okay, we got to talk about where you are. I'm gonna have to come get some cookies.
Oh,
Can I eat it with
well,
y'all?
I know. I don't think you could take us anywhere. This table would be hilarious. Don't sit us.
if they ever make it where we're all in the same room, we're in
Oh yeah,
trouble.
it's a wrap. We're not gonna act right to save our lives. I can tell.
No, but I'll bring gluten-free
You're
vegan.
gonna bring cookies? Oh, I'm down. You bring the cookies, and I'll bring the other stuff. I'll bring I'll bring the medicinal.
Oh,
So she'll bring the
there's a
cookies, you'll
reason
bring
to
the
want the cookies.
brownies. Got it. Got it.
Got it.
So who's going to make up the special batch of cookies when she brings the medicinal?
Um,
Not it.
you,
Miss Michelle,
you,
that's you.
we'll make Tamia do it because she ain't here.
Yeah. Okay.
That's how you designate people. She ain't here, so we're designating her. That's what we
That's
do.
true. Or the new girl.
Yeah, we could do that. She don't even know when she get on next time. We just gonna tell her she gotta make cookies.
Okay.
She be like, "What?"
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna bring you some butter. I'm gonna need you to make some cookies.
Yeah, you just gotta make us cookies. They gotta be gluten free and vegan though, but make us some cookies.
Gluten free and vegan.
So
Okay.
Yeah, I'm bougie. Nobody's
so-
bougie. I'm not bougie.
oh, you're bougie. You're a bougie heterosexual. Okay.
I love it. Oh my god, I love it.
Okay, I gotta tell this little joke saying how we're sitting here doing this, but you know that the homosexuals are the right way because no one says go homo to hell. They say go straight to hell. So I'm saying,
Oh my gosh, Lee, stop it. I'm gonna tell somebody that.
it's
You
one
just
of those
wait.
things.
I'm gonna tell somebody that. I'm be like, you know what? I was told.
Absolutely.
I love it. I just love this space. I do. I love this space so much. I really don't think we could be put at the same table nowhere though, but it's okay.
Hey, we could. It'd be a quiet, hidden place. Nobody would know where we were. And after a while, they come out. All right, you four got to
I'm
come
about
out
to
of
say,
here. Come out of
would we
here.
really be
Go
quiet?
home.
Would we really be quiet though?
No,
Mm-mm.
no. I think we'd really be off the
Yeah,
chain. If we were all together. Oh my
that'd be.
God.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work.
I don't
That
know,
would
but
be.
we
Mm,
should plan for that now. I think
I
we
think
should.
we should. I think we
Maybe
should.
maybe the last one in person or one in person, like,
Before the
That
end of
would
the
be
year.
dope to be in person.
Before the end of the year, we
mm-hmm.
should do one in person.
okay. Well,
Yeah, we
Figure
should do
that
one
out.
in person.
I guess we'll have to figure out where everybody
Hey,
is so we can kind of coordinate, like,
I'm
kind of
probably
meeting in
the
the middle.
farthest away because I
where
think
are you
all.
at?
A party at Peach House.
I think I'm the farthest away because all of y'all are in Delaware.
I'm
Am I
not. We're
right?
in
In
Indiana.
Pennsylvania.
We're in Pennsylvania.
Oh, wait, yeah. Okay, yeah. See, I didn't know, but yeah, I'm
Delaware,
Maryland.
Delaware. You're
I'm
where?
Maryland.
Where are you, Lee?
We're in Pottstown.
Yeah.
Oh
So
wow.
Where's that?
How
Um,
far away are y'all
about
from
an hour from Philly.
it's not a whole hour, but yeah,
How
roughly.
far are y'all away from what is it, Wilmington? Where is it? Where's the I
So,
Am Me Awards?
ironically, we're only like an hour and 15 minutes away from like Wilmington or whatever, because my bestie lives in Bear. And so it only takes me an hour and 15 to get there.
And I
You
say
can
this
come right down
How
202.
How far are you away from New York?
2.5, 3 hours, depending on where you're going.
Like from the Bronx
Oh,
area?
we can get to the Bronx in about 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
where are you at, Miss Michelle? Did I miss it? You in New York?
I will be in a couple
Oh,
weeks.
I don't know where I'm gonna be. Oh, I
You
ain't
trying
gonna
to have
lie.
a party in the
I mean,
Bronx?
let's say hey,
Hey,
I will go to New York.
hey.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go to New
Yeah,
York.
it's possible.
I was gearing more toward, where they had the I Am Me Awards December 13th in Wilmington.
Yeah.
Like that would be dope because the I Am Me
Uh-huh.
Awards, like maybe we could all sit at
Well, that would be
because
cool.
I know I'm a nominee for the Ally Award.
Oh, and we would all be there and cheer you on.
Yeah. And we
And
would be
say,
supporting Berlin.
what's that loud row in the back?
With
There
the
is
food
a
table.
restaurant on the water. I'll have to think about it, but they serve everything like family style. So, like if you order like barramundi or something like that, like a fish, they bring the whole fish in, yeah. So it's family style.
Is it?
Because Lee's a bit
Oh,
of a foodie. So, if she's
It sounds
recommending
like
the food, it's going to be good.
it sounds like she's already gearing towards she knows where I can eat too. So I'm like,
I got that. I got
yeah, I
that.
feel like she's
well,
on it.
this is sounding good.
I think
We might have a plan.
Pay attention.
Are you vegan or just pescatarian?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I am not I say vegan because I can't have animal milk from my Crohn's. But when I speak to most people, they don't understand when I say I can't have dairy. So it's like, but you eat eggs? Yes, I eat eggs. Like I can eat eggs, but I can't have cow's milk. I can't have animal milk.
Okay.
So it's just better for me to
Dairy.
I can't. So when I say
Mhm.
dairy, it's just some people are confused.
No, I got you.
Mhm.
I
Yeah, so
completely
when I
understand.
say vegan, I'm good. I'm fine.
That
I
makes
don't
sense.
know about it.
We got you. I know how to
Yeah.
yell at people.
Okay, so we can eat. Okay, so then I ain't got to do it because I definitely, okay. Let me flip my hair a little bit.
Yeah, no, you do not. My brother is vegan. That's why I was asking him. And then
Okay.
there's actually apparently a really great vegan soul food place, but in DC area.
I love food.
So,
Is it
Mhm.
gluten free too? Because I love some food.
I don't know if it's gluten free, but I feel like they might have. So I feel like you're probably going to be able to get vegan or gluten free. I think that overlap might be a little bit of a struggle.
Can you see my issue? That's my issue all the time. I'm like, do you have gluten free? Yes. And then I gotta go, well, do you have vegan as well? And they'll go, yes. So then if they say yes, sometimes it's no. But there's this really lovely place in Berlin called 50 oh my God, this distillery is so freaking awesome. They have like 3 freaking full pages of gluten-free food that I can choose from. Oh, I'm in love. Yes.
I know. I mean, it's been a while since I was there, but I know a vegan place in Center City that was awesome. But you know what else you can do? I was just trying to go to the ethnic. This is how I cook for my brother because I was so tired of trying to substitute everything to make him the same foods that he had been eating. Was to find like Indian food or
yes.
Thai
Oh my
food.
God. Yes.
Yes.
I have no issues. It's so good. I love it.
Yeah.
I have
So you're
no
probably good to eat like a dosa or something because that's chickpea flour. That's like, you know what I mean? Like, and
Norman, you're so right. That's where I have less of my issues when it comes to food, is other cultures' food. American food is so hard for me to find to eat. But if I go to other cultures, I'm like, okay, I can eat this, I can eat that, and I can eat this, and I need that, because it naturally doesn't have the things that our bodies aren't supposed to have in the first place. And I'm like, ooh, they don't got those added. They don't even got to worry about non-GMO because it's just not there.
Yep.
So the number one plant-based food, drink, and restaurant in Wilmington on Market Street.
Okay.
It's a vibrant, community-focused.
I'm listening.
You gotta read off the website.
It's got 5 stars.
Okay.
The $20 range. The Green Box Kitchen. Girl, anything that's got box in it, lesbians are there. We're good.
I knew you were gonna say it. I knew you couldn't leave that joke on the table.
I had no clue, so that was so freaking funny.
I knew you couldn't leave it on the table.
Oh my God, that was so funny. I just look at her face. No, we could not sit at if we all sat at the same table. It's a wrap. It would not.
There is a Vietnamese Thai restaurant as well.
We need you ladies to leave or separate tables for each of you. Because you 4 are just in trouble, you know.
We gotta go sit in the corner. We're gonna put Lee in the corner first, then we're gonna put Ariel.
It's my halo. I'm an innocent bystander in all of your drama and craziness.
I mean, halo.
Let me fix my crown real quick. You know.
Yeah. Is that the halo is sitting on the crown? You can't see. Yeah, it's there.
We are the queens.
Just real quick. Oh my
God! It
God!
would be funny if I had my horns in this room.
Oh my gosh, you're funny.
So
y'all are a mess. I cannot with y'all.
All right. Well, sounds like a plan. It sounds like we're gonna come down and yell loud and obnoxiously. And I don't know what we're talking about in the back. Why would we be in the back? That sounds crazy.
I don't think they should put.
We're gonna be right there in the front with like.
Please stop. It's Lee, your face. Just stop.
Look, you got to tell me where all the women folk are. I got to keep.
Oh my God.
Hey, we'll be calling people into our table. Come on and sit down. Let's talk. Join our conversation.
We should just turn our phones on and go live, like right then. Just be live then at the table so they can see who we are in real time. I think that would be so good.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah, I found 6 restaurants that's both gluten-free and vegetarian. So we're going to
just look them up right now.
Yep.
So are we looking at the I Am Me Awards in Wilmington, right?
The I Am Me, I think it's December 13th. Yo, I have picked out the cutest dress, and I don't wear dresses, but I'm about to listen. I have picked out the cutest dress. Yes. Yeah. Peach is typing.
I'm going to be in the cutest dress too.
Oh, you are? We can't wait to see.
I would love it.
What color?
I would love it.
What color?
No.
One, it would be orange, but no.
Be orange. No.
Oh, Peach said our chef.
Put a wig on. Have the long hair.
And those lashes that come out like 10 feet, you know? Oh yeah.
Come in with me some what is it? Tammy Faye Baker eyelashes.
Oh, I'm okay. You coming? Okay.
She talk with her eyes. The Lord,
we are coming. She is coming strong. Okay, Lee, coming strong.
Give us money.
Oh my God, that would be so weird. Don't do that.
Oh my God,
I cannot even picture it.
Pete said our chef.
I feel like you wouldn't even wear something flattering. It would be like some crazy poofy sleeve.
Pause. Peach is like, I have a chef that will come in and make the food. We're going to Peach's house. We get a chef
All
Come
right.
on.
Yes.
What's
Best
After
sold.
Okay.
Okay.
Is this after? Is it
We're-
after the
hey.
awards? Because I can't get my dress messed up.
She's typing.
What-
She's typing. We're waiting
it's typing?
We're waiting.
So,
at the awards.
Oh, okay. Oh, so I'm good. Yes, I'm definitely coming medicated for sure.
Okay. I'm putting it on my calendar.
All right. Well, yeah. What was the date again? What was the date again?
December the 13th.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
November.
Okay. I love that. It should be done working by then.
That's Cap Soul. They're gonna do a line dance because I swear I'm doing them. Yes.
Mm-mm. So we've come to the end of our road. Next week, there'll be the recap of this show. You don't want to miss
Why
it.
is that so funny to me?
I know. Next week is a recap, and we've got a new panelist coming on board
Okay.
soon. I don't know when, but they'll be there. We will welcome them. I don't know who is the host for next in 2 weeks. Do you know? Anybody
I
know?
don't.
Have you done
I
it,
have not,
Ariel?
so it's probably me.
That's probably you.
All right. Oh,
Yeah, because I don't think you
I have not.
have.
So it's probably me, and I will come up with questions for you guys. I think we should explore some of our intersectional identities. So I'm probably gonna like bring up some questions around that.
It's Ariel. Lots of laughs.
It's area. Mhm.
Okay.
You said our sexual identity.
I said intersectional
Oh,
identities. Goodness
oh,
gracious, ma'am.
I'm putting my
Hey, and and it will be on the 27th, which is right before Halloween. Are we coming in costume?
Oh, we should. Yes,
I
I
don't
got
know.
you.
Oh,
Bet, bet.
okay. So I will be a little bit late. I'm going to a candidate school, but I'm a pop.
Okay.
I'm hopping on. I'm gonna be a little late,
Oh.
but I got.
Well, you can start right at the candidate thing and say, and then just transition.
I should too. I'm gonna have my laptop with me. I should just turn it on and just walk out. I'll just be walking out of the thing just with my laptop in my hand because it doesn't work right.
Oh, you know what? And we might have questions for the other candidates. We can. We know where Kanisha stands, but where are you?
Exactly.
And then how are you going to? Yeah.
Just
You would like to know.
It's these faces for me.
Yes, it is Ariel. We have confirmation.
All right, Ariel, you're next.
Yeah.
You will have fun next week. Y'all, this was so fun. I just love y'all to pieces. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for accepting me who I am. And I just love being in safe spaces. So thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Girls,
Wow.
you're gonna make me cry again.
Ladies. No.
Wow.
Ariel said it. Peach, I don't know how this table gonna go in December. I don't know if it's gonna act right.
Well, we're going to work on that December date, and I'll see everybody in 2 weeks. Is what, the 27th?
All right.
Oh,
Such a fun-
good night.
Bye.
Oh, what does Peach say?
Lots of laughs.
Laughing.
Oh. She might, you know what? She might disband us after tonight.
I will.
We'll get an email tomorrow.
Did you see her comment where she said, "Do y'all know y'all still live?"
Yeah, I said yes. We
Yes.
do. We do. It's okay. We're going to talk about food and eating. Yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
They just get to know who we are. That's all.
We were eating while live.
Exactly.
Oh,
I had shrimp Alfredo, shrimp and broccoli Alfredo. I did.
Nice. Yeah.
Yes.
I had a chicken salad, and it had like apples and cranberries.
Oh, that sounds good.
It was good.
Lee had cookies.
yeah, Lee was eating cookies.
Yeah.
Y'all are too much. I can't. I just can't with y'all. All right.
I can see y'all are not leaving. I'm gonna leave. I will
Me
see you guys in
too.
2 weeks.
Okay, bye.
Okay, 2 weeks.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.